Now that we have learned about the history of the ADA, let's learn more about its effect on our programs for children. The Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, applies to childhood programs. This act includes protection for children with disabilities. It also lists specific expectations for serving children and families in your program. When it comes to the ADA and childhood programs, we are looking at the protections under Title II and Title III.
Since my background is in public schools, I'll start us off by talking about Title II. Public schools and child care services provided by government agencies, such as Head Start, summer programs, and extended school day programs, must comply with the Title II of the ADA. Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act is a federal law that prohibits state and local governments, such as public school districts and libraries, from discriminating against persons with disabilities. Title II of the ADA works with Section 504, which you learned about in the disability timeline. These two pieces of legislation protect children and their families with disabilities from discrimination. They also ensure equal and full participation in school and childhood programs.
Let me add some more about Title III. Privately run child care centers, including small home-based programs, must comply with Title III of the ADA. This is the same law that applies to other public places such as recreation centers, restaurants, hotels, movie theaters, private schools, and banks. There is an exception for child care centers that are run by religious organizations such as churches, mosques, or synagogues. Programs owned and controlled by these religious organizations are not required to comply with Title III. However, private child care centers that are operating at a religious organization are required to follow Title III. For example, if a private child care program is operated out of a church, pays rent to the church, and has no other connection to the church, then that program is responsible for following Title III, even if the church does not. Almost all child care programs, regardless of size or number of employees, must comply with Title III of the ADA. It's important that we understand this law. Child care centers cannot exclude children with disabilities from their programs unless their presence would pose a direct threat to the health or safety of others or require a fundamental alteration of the program. Centers have to make reasonable modifications to their policies and practices to integrate children, parents, and guardians with disabilities into their programs, unless doing so would constitute a fundamental alteration. Professionals should talk to the parents or guardians and any other professionals, such as healthcare professionals, who work with the child in other contexts in order to make an informed assessment if the program can meet the child's needs. Under ADA, childhood professionals cannot assume that a child's disabilities are too severe for the child to be included in their program. Instead, professionals must make an individualized assessment to see if they can meet the particular needs of the child without fundamentally altering its program. During such an assessment, professionals need to be careful about biases and stereotypes. These assessments should be done with respect to sources that know the child well, including families, guardians, and other professionals, such as healthcare professionals who work with the child. The state of Missouri is proud to offer inclusion services as part of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Working with an inclusion specialist is a free service. An inclusion specialist can help brainstorm reasonable supports to try within your current program. You can find more information about working with an inclusion specialist in our course resources.
Creating inclusive childhood programs is both a challenge and a joy. As a professional, you have the responsibility to care for every child in your program and to help them learn and grow. You also have the delight of seeing children reach their potential, exceed expectations, and thrive in your childhood programs and school communities.